What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. So for the next, I think it's five videos, we're actually going to be playing in another team challenge. If you missed the first round of team challenges, we actually lost in top 4. So this time we are around playing Centiskorch Silvally. Pedro, what's his last name? Oh, I'm terrible. Recently got first place with this list, and as soon as he posted, I was like, yo, this list, Pedro Torres, there we go, I forgot his last name. He posted this, got first place, and it looked really interesting, and it has really positive matchups against like Pikarom and ADP, and I was like, okay, so let's test it out. And it seemed like a lot of fun. Centiskorch can just do a ton of damage so quickly, and tested it the Thursday and Friday before, and yeah, we're just playing the same 60 that Pedro played, so thank you, Pedro, for the list. And let's talk about the deck a little bit. And like I said, today you actually won't see any gameplay, but the next 5 days you'll see matches with this deck. So let's look at Centiskorch VMAX. It does Gmax Inferno, which we've seen this card before. It does 40, and it does 40 more damage for each Fire Energy attached to this Pokemon. If you did any damage with this attack, you may attach a Fire Energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So basically, it self-accelerates. So if you do some damage with it, then you could then attach a Fire Energy from your discard pile to the Centiskorch and do even more damage the next turn. You're going to watch the videos and you're going to learn how I figured out the math for Centiskorch. That's a very interesting thing to see me do, because at the time when starting this videos, I didn't actually 100% know the numbers for Centiskorch VMAX, and a lot of stuff really does matter now. For Centiskorch, you're playing a 4-4 line. You want to draw this guy ASAP. You want to start with him. You want to get the Welder ASAP and start building up so you can do a ton of damage with your Centiskorch. Centiskorch V is actually pretty nice. If you do go second, you get that radiating heat attack. It does 20, and you may discard energy from this Pokemon. If you do discard energy from your opponent's active Pokemon, and what this could do, it can knock a water energy off. Let's say, you know, RC's Dialga Palkia, or let's say you discard a Dark off Eternatus, and they don't play any way to energy accelerate those things. You can then, you know, slow down your opponent, and the next turn you can just Welder and attach, and then use the good old Gmax Inferno and to power up your Centiskorch VMAX, which is a very cool combination that you do see sometimes in these videos. Now, if you do go second, which you always want to go second, that is the preferred thing to do. Of course, you want to get Volcanion in the active spot, so you can use that Flare Start attack, search stick for a Fire Energy card, and attach to one of your Pokemon. But if you go second, and it's your first turn, so you have to go second and it's your first turn, you can search up to 3 Fire Energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon any way you like. So this means now you can attach 3 Fire Energies to a Centiskorch, and you can also Welder turn 1 to a Centiskorch and attach to the Volcanion. So within turn 1, you could have up to 5 energies on a Centiskorch VMAX, which is what, 240 damage already? Yeah, so that seems pretty good. Like turn 2, you start swinging and you attach another 3. Yeah, you do it. I think it's like 7, 8 at that point. 5, 6, 7, yeah, 8 energies on a Centiskorch. Yeah, you're doing a lot of damage pretty quickly turn 2, and that's what really drove me to the deck. But the problem with this deck, we know this deck is good, right? We know Volcanion and Centiskorch is a very good combo. We've seen it done, you know, somewhat well over the past, you know, couple months. The problem is you're going to Welder and only draw, you know, 3 cards, right? You're going to attach 2 Fire Energies, great energy accelerator, but the problem is you just sit there now, right? You're just sitting there, you're like, all right, cool, I drew 3 cards, but now I need more, right? I've been Marnied, I only have 4 cards. Oh, they stamped me to 2. How do I counter that? And that's what Silvally is here for. Silvally-GX has that disc reload ability. Now, remember, like, Omnipoke was playing like Silvally and stuff, which is like really fun and looked really cool. But now we actually found like the first, like, I feel like real deck that utilizes Silvally with another Pokemon. Like disc reload, be able to draw 5 cards in your hand, like they stamp you to 1 or something, stamp you to 2, and then you draw a card. You're like, okay, I really need a Welder this turn. You're like, okay, I'll play a couple cards, and then I'll disc reload, and I'll draw up to 5. And the thing about it is they really can't target Silvally-GX unless they're trying to like win that turn. So because they're worried about your Centiskorch VMAX. If they don't deal with Centiskorch VMAX, well, the next turn you're just going to Welder even more, attach another energy, and then Centiskorch is just going to start one-shotting everything, and that's a pretty cool thing about this deck, right? You're putting pressure with Centiskorch, so they really can't go after your Silvallies. And even then, you have Brave Buddies, which does 50. You play the support card, you do 70 more damage. So it can do somewhat damage. You could pick up a knockout maybe here or there, maybe against like Volcanion or maybe opposing Volcanions. You can use that. And then you have Silvally-GX, which I don't even know what Ultra Beast are in format right now, but you can just one-shot an Ultra Beast, which is pretty cool. The basic is lackluster. Who cares about that one, right? So that's your main combo, right? Centiskorch VMAX with Silvally-GX. That's the two partners you're going to see throughout the whole video. Everything else, and of course Volcanion. And also Volcanion, like go over this, but High Heat Blast does 50, and you have 4 more energies, you can do 60 more damage, which is actually pretty strong because it then puts, your 2-shot some Pokemon like 220 or something like that. It could put some pressure on your opponent, right? If they have to worry about this Volcanion, like you could power up a Centiskorch VMAX on the bench while Volcanion just like does 110 every single turn, and they have to deal with it, right? Or if not, they're gonna have this Volcanion just keep hitting them over and over again, which is pretty cool to see. But outside of that, you have 3 Dedennes. You want to use that DAA change. You want to be able to draw 6 cards in your hand. You want to be able to find those Welders, find those energies, all that good stuff. Crobat is also really nice. You can get that turn 1 like. I'm going to Crobat like a fresh hand of 6, draw up to 6, then DAA change. And that's also a cool thing I don't think I've ever talked about before. If you ever have like 0 cards in hand, you want to Crobat first and then DAA change. Don't do the opposite, because then you won't draw as many cards if you Crobat after the DAA change. Just food for thought. I don't think I've ever pointed that out before, but it could be somewhat interesting to point out. But yeah, Dark Asset, be able to draw 6 cards is always really nice. Heatran. Now, Heatran is a very good card. It's a GX attack that pretty much has like unlimited amount of damage, right? Steaming Stomp does 130. Pretty strong once again. You get some cool numbers. The main one's going to be like Volcanions and stuff like that. I think there's other Pokemon as well that have 130 HP that you could just probably one-shot. Decidueye, if they have a weakness card, I mean, you're pretty much going to knock them out anyway. Anyways, but the cool thing about Heatran has a Burning Road ability. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to your active, you may move any number of Fire Energy from your other Pokemon to it. So basically, you just plop down Heatran, switch it to the active, and just move as many Fire Energies as you want to it. And the big thing about this is you have Hot Burn GX. This attack does 50 damage times the amount of Fire Energy attached to this Pokemon. So yeah, the sky is the limit at that point. You 5, you're doing 250, 6, 300, 7, 350. So, I don't know where you can drop a Heatran and just one-shot it, right? And that's pretty cool. So, like, if for some reason you don't drop a Centiskorch turn 1 and you welder to, like, a Dedenne or something, yeah, you can do that. Welder doesn't say you have to attach to a fire Pokemon. You attach it to whoever you want to. And then you could just, like, Heatran, and Heatran just comes up and takes those energies and just Hot Burn GX. The problem is then you're stuck with the Heatran with, like, 6 energies or something like that. But it could knock out a VMAX or something like that. Like, Centiskorch can pick up the first knockout, and then while you're putting your energies where you want to, you just drop Heatran, and you just switch it to the active, and all of a sudden you got this guy just knocks out the VMAX, and you win the game. It's a pretty cool card. Like it a lot. Really good. Really, really good. Other thing is Eldegoss. Very good for the happy match. Just be able to find a supporter card. It's like playing like a 5th Welder, a 2nd Mallow Lana, 3rd Boss's Order. So, pretty interesting card. It's searchable. It's a quick ball for a boss, which is a really cool thing, or a quick ball for a welder, whatever you want to. So it's always really nice to have like one Eldegoss in your deck, and of course we see that nowadays. So I thought the Pokemon, I can't really think of anything else really to include on top of my head, like math-wise and stuff like that. I see some of us playing Jirachi, but then they're not playing Silvally, and the whole point of the deck is to play Centiskorch Silvally. So yeah, I think it's fine. The Pokemon line seems fine to me. You can maybe cut a 3rd Centiskorch and like add like another crystal or something. We'll go over that here in a second and talk about the other stuff. But you can maybe cut to a 3rd Centiskorch. The thing is that you want max consistency, so that's kind of why you're playing 4-4 right now. Alright, so 3 Cherish Ball, really nice search for GX because it lets you get Dedenne and lets you get Silvally-GX and Heatran-GX as well. So you have multiple search cards with it. It's going to help you find that Silvally-GX. And of course, you can then disc reload to draw more cards to help you draw into the Centiskorch VMAX turn 2. Because the point of the deck is to get Centiskorch V, type Null, and Volcanion down turn 1. And then turn 2, get a VMAX, Silvally-GX, and you swing with Centiskorch. So that is everything goes planned during that turn. So Cherish Ball is going to find the DAA, is going to find Silvally, which is another big thing. One Fire Crystal, which is really good because like I said, if something gets knocked out, you need the energies back. Especially if like a Heatran gets knocked out, the energies back, forced to draw 3. So you have to play around with this card because you only have one. There's been several times you're going to see me play this games where I don't DAA change a hand away because I have Fire Crystal in hand. And I think that's a just very conservative thing to do. This is probably one of your most precious cards. So I definitely want to play 2 of these. Having one was you're oh, my Centiskorch with 7 energies got knocked out. Where are my energies now? Because you only play 11, so you're a little bit trouble. So maybe a second crystal, probably fine. I could definitely justify a second crystal in this deck and be okay, that makes sense. So I do like that a lot. 3 communication, it's fine. Let's just search for another Pokemon, right? We're just finding Pokemon. It's really good just to find your basics, right? I think that's the main thing here, because DAA is going to help find your main guys, right? Communication is going to help you find the VMAX, which is pretty much the main reason why it's in here, because everything is searchable at this point, right? Quick Ball can search all your basics, and then communications main thing is get the VMAX, but it still gets you other Pokemon. So I think 3 is fine. I see some. Let's play 4. You could play 4. There's 2 of these. And maybe cut some cards somewhere. So seems fine right now. I never whiffed Pokemon too much. I will say that much while playing these games. Quick Ball, of course, to find your base Pokemon. It's a very standard card. 2 Reset Stamp. What's really good about this deck is they knock out a Volcanion and then knock out a Centiskorch VMAX. So taking 4 price cards and you can stamp them to 2 or something and punish them really hard, which I do a couple times in the videos. Also, you can make it where they knock out a Heatran first, and then you go to Centiskorch VMAX, and they take 5 price cards, and then you can stamp them to 1, which is a really cool thing you could do. But then you're I don't know, if you got 2 anyway, they can just boss order the DNA regardless in the end. But stamp to 1 is always scarier than stamp to 2, right? It just sounds a lot scarier. Either way, both 1 and 2 are both quick, you're able to quick ball for somebody if you need to, so it's not too bad. I guess if this is a format with Ultra Balls, it would make a lot bigger margin, right? Stamping somebody to 1 and they draw an Ultra Ball on 1 card, that's that's drastic right there. But you stamp this money for 1 and they hit quick ball, okay, cool, I'm good. That's That's a cool thing to note. But yeah, stamp, punish your opponent. This card comes in clutch a lot on these 2 stamps. You'll see. I don't want to spoil anything during the videos. There's a lot of good games during these matches for sure. For Switch, we're playing heavy retreat Pokemon. Switch is very, very nice. Everybody has heavy retreat, so yeah, we need switches in our deck. You need to get the Volcanion on ASAP. You're going to start with Centiskorch V a lot, and he's a 3 retreater, right? He's 3 retreat, so you need to get a Volcanion out ASAP. Giant Hearth, of course, we didn't find a Fire energies ASAP, so you can welder them. I would not cut this card at all. Contemplate going to a 4th, but even then, I think 3 is fine. 2 boss order, kind of low, but you're really just one-shotting people. You want to be weldering, and by the time you're bossing, you're one-shotting somebody, so I think that's the justification of only playing 2. And then plus you have Eldegoss, so I think you're fine here with the 2. Heck, you can maybe go 1. If the VMAX can just one-shot a tag team or something active, and then you're good to go after that. So no, 2's I think I'll get 2. Mallow Lana is a very interesting card, right? So you have this VMAX that's 320 HP. We didn't even talk about that. It's a monster. He's a tank, right? 320. I don't think one-shotting you is other Centiskorches, right? Which is a very interesting thing to talk about. So we'll go over there in a little bit. But Mallow Lana heals 120, so it definitely does mess with some numbers, and it comes in a weird situations, but this is maybe a cuttable card. I definitely see people okay, Mallow Lana's bad, and I can see it. Maybe you need the Fire Crystal more than you need the Mallow Lana, and I could definitely probably agree with that statement in the games you play. You're okay, if this Mallow Lana was a Fire Crystal, we're probably in a better spot. But I think the couple games you use Mallow Lana was good, but I definitely think the second Crystal will be better. And like I said, you can also cut the VMAX if you need to. Go to 4-3, cut the Mallow Lana. You have 2 spots now. Maybe you go to a second Crystal and 4th Communication. Whoa, and then you're super consistent. It could be something you could do. I haven't really tinkered with the deck list. I just played Pedro's list and just kept it as it is. For Welder, that's the game, right? You want to attach 2 Fire Gs to your hand, 20 Pokemon, and draw 3 cards. This is like without this, you're nothing, right? So I think that's a big thing there. Welder, all day Welder. All right. So no, this is powering your fire Pokemon. You attach 2 fires, drawing 3 cards. It's everything. 1 Air Balloon. Now this is really good just because you can throw it on a Silvally. It has 2 retreat. That's a pretty cool thing about the Air Balloon. You can just retreat a Silvally at any point. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's used for. Oh, I also forgot to point this out. Mallow Lana also is a switch. So I think the switch aspect came into play more than the healing of the card, if I remember correctly. So we'll see how the videos come out and see what happens. All right, so 11 Fire G, very good card. Like 11 Fire, that's the point of the deck. The point of the other card is going to be Heat Energy. You gain 20 more HP, which means Centiskorch VMAX is now 340. So I think that the big thing to point out with this is, I think 7 energies. Yeah, so 7 energies one-shots a Centiskorch VMAX, right? So if you're playing against a mirror, Heat Energy makes it where they need 8, which means that turn 1 they had to get the perfect like Welder 2 and go for the Volcanion for 3 to make it 5, and the next turn Welder 2 and attach. So they need that perfect combination to one-shot a VMAX go on turn 2. So I think that's a cool thing to point out. It changes the numbers of how many fire energies a Centiskorch VMAX takes on the Centiskorch VMAX. So outside of that, I don't know the purpose of the Heat Energy. It's a very interesting card. Like I said, the mirror, it really does play a big role because now they need 8 instead of 7. Like, that's a lot of energies. Like, you only play 7, you only play 12, and if you're not going to Pokemon the 8, you only have 4 left. Like, that is like cool to say. So I think that's the big thing here. The math is like you can like potentially get 8, but getting 7 is like probably easier to do. So but that's the list. It's a lot of fun to play. There's no games today. If you have any questions about the deck, let me know down below and I'll answer them. Like I said, I'd probably cut the Mallow Lana, probably cut Centiskorch VMAX at a 2nd Crystal and a 4th Communication. Outside of that, the list is really good. The Heat Energy you can maybe cut for like a 12th Fire if you really wanted to. There's probably some like Eternatus math that it helps with as well. But I think Eternatus is probably still a bad matchup. Like that seems probably the rough one for sure. Outside of that, like Water probably just like probably destroys you. I don't know, you're really fast. Like you could turn 2 like 300 damage. Like realistically super easy. Like once you start playing games and you figure out how like the Centiskorch stuff works, like it's really easy to do a ton of damage. And now you're seeing tournaments now with like more and more Centiskorches like doing better, and I think we're like finally realizing how to play Centiskorch, which is like very cool to see. I do think that like to counter this deck, I would definitely see ADP start playing like Milotic and like just one shot like a Centiskorch for like 4 price cards. It seems really rough. So does Milotic one shot at Centiskorch? That'd be so funny if it doesn't. Hold on, I haven't even looked it up yet. Let's see, Milotic V. It does. Says 50 for each more, and your opponent's active. 5, 10, 15, 16. Yeah, you're one-shotting it. You're definitely one-shotting with the Aqua Impact. So yeah, if you go ADP turn 1, Alter Creation at the turn 2, they then have to really worry about this Milotic on their bench, right? Or it brings up a VMAX and just one-shot, take 4 price cards. So I think ADP will start playing Milotic again to counter this. That's what I'm thinking. Anyways, guys, there's Centiskorch VMAX. Huge shout out to Pedro once again. Fantastic list. A lot of fun. And now the big question is Centiskorch Silvally better or is regular Centiskorch better? I don't know. I've only played Centiskorch Silvally, really. But guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. And the next 5 days, we'll see this deck in action and have a lot of content on it. Alrighty. Bye.